And that kind of got me on the whole idea of, oh, this is incredibly fun.
Yeah, it is. All right, we are officially live. Amy, can you say some words to make sure that it is picking you up?
These are some words.
Fantastic. Those words worked. I'm going to turn you up a little bit more. Big hello to everyone who is already here, whoever's lurking, whoever's saying hello. Hello, Maroon Wolf and Doc, Robert the Haunter. Let's get started. For those who are new, I've never been here before. Hi, I'm Noelle, also known as Charge and Die, here on Twitch and TikTok and Instagram and all the things. I'm a professional scare actor, and I tell Scareactor stories as my main content, but with The Mess, I wasn't able to scare last year, so I thought, hey, rather than me just sharing my stories, why don't I talk to fellow scare actors like Amy here, so that they get a chance to tell their stories too, because we love to talk scaring, right? So I have a special guest. Amy, would you like to introduce yourself?
I would love to. Yay. Hi, guys. My name is Amy Segal. I'm an actress and scare actor based in Los Angeles, California. I've done haunts between 2016 and 2018. I worked the Los Angeles Haunted Hayride, and I've done Horror Nights 2 years in a row. And that's me.
Yeah.
Hi, what's up?
Thank you for being here. Hi, Jarrett. Jarrett's a personal friend of mine. Welcome. Thanks for being here, everybody. So Amy and I actually did Scare together in 2017 and 2018. We got to talk a little bit more in 2018 than we did in 2017 because we just were in different sections of our maze, but we did Scare in the same maze on Terror Tram. So Amy, let's start at the beginning. How did you get started with scare acting?
So, long story short, I did a whole bunch of horror stuff, movie-wise, indie movies, and musicals and stuff like that in 2015. And then 2016 was a really dry year for me acting-wise. And come, like, August, I was like, okay, I need to do something. Let's follow this horror train. And I auditioned for Haunted Hayride and booked it and did it. And that kind of got me on the whole idea of, oh, this is incredibly fun.
Yeah, it is. So you were a fan of horror beforehand?
I actually hadn't been up until 2015.
Oh.
And my last semester of college, I took a fear and horror class. Shout outs to PK, who was my teacher. He was great. And his one rule in class was you can't leave. You can close your eyes, you can look away, you can put your head down, you cannot leave. And you know, we started with the Universal classics, worked our way through Exorcist and Jaws and Rosemary's Baby, all the way up to things like The Descent and Saw, and it really got me fascinated in the genre.
Mm-hmm.
So that by the time I was doing things like Horror Nights, I was so gung-ho for all the special effects and the legacy behind all these things that I'm all about it now.
So you used your acting and your horror knowledge from previous things and put it into scare acting. That's fantastic. What's your favorite horror movie now that you've seen so many?
Probably The Descent. Especially the first half of it when it's just the really closed quarters, all the women in the cave and they're just stuck. Oh, I love it. The feel of that. I mean,
Women
I hate
trapped.
it, but I love it.
I love it in a cave of all things. It's just, we sound psychotic whenever we talk about scary things. I love it. And you made a lot of friends doing scary?
Horror. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. People I love, and they're like the only people that will like go see horror films with me.
Right?
Oh, they're the people from before won't do it.
Oh my god, I just feel like I love horror. I don't like gore so much. I like more the psychological thrillers. But I'll still watch the gore. It's just like, meh. Not as good.
I'm a supernatural horror person.
I love supernatural stuff. Absolutely. So what is your dream scare character? Either you've done this already or you want to do this. What's your dream character?
Dream scare character? I mean, just in general, I'd like to do a scare zone. You know, I've been in mazes, I've done Terror Tram, but I'd like to do a zone. That would be a whole lot of fun. but because like you got to do the trick or treat scare zone in 2018. I was in the maze.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very much here's your spot.
Yeah.
And I'd like the freedom to like move around, play with my environment more. As far as roles, I'd love it if they did like a cryptid scare zone where it was like here's Bigfoot, here's Jersey Devil, Mothman, La Llorona. I mean, I know they did like the La Llorona maze, but like just using her as a character.
Yeah, they could bring her back.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
If Orlando has legacy characters, why can't we have legacy characters?
Right? Like, Orlando gets so much cool stuff, and I'm like, why can't we bring a lot of that stuff here? Because they had killer clowns well before we had the maze for killer clowns, and that, honestly, has been my favorite maze since I saw it. I went through that thing so many times. Yeah, 2019, I don't know if you know, 2019, I took a year off. Were you scaring?
I also took a year off in 2019.
Okay, yeah, so...
And it was my first time going to Horror Nights as a guest. It's very similar.
Same, yes, absolutely. It was so much fun, but I went through Killer Clowns so many times. Partly because I had the pass and I had the time. Let's go, let's do it. Just absorb everything. And it was really fun. Also partly because my first time going through the maze, I thought it was hokey. I'd never seen the movie before. And I wanted to appreciate what they've done a little more. So then I watched the movie and then I realized, oh God, they got that spot on. Holy crap. I need to go through this again and appreciate it more. And so I went through that. And then also third, partly because my boyfriend was on light tech for it. So
cool.
I would go through with him and he would have to go through and patrol and tell them to press the trigger. Like this is his sign of like, press your trigger. For those who don't know what a trigger is, it is like a button or a switch or something that you press or activate that can start a sound and a light at the same time. Usually. It's like just an added effect. So the actor will be hidden in blackness, in darkness, and then when they see a guest come through, they time it right, they'll press the trigger and it'll activate a light with a sound and they'll pop out with it, and it's just an added thing it's a boost for the scare. So they're not just popping out of darkness. Anyway, so because he's part of light tech, you need to make sure that the light triggers were all working regularly. So every like 30 minutes or so he'd go through and he'd say, press your trigger. They'd have to scare him. Of course, he'd be behind me doing this and I would get hit every time. Not physically hit. Just to be clear to people who don't know it.
That's the best way to get it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was spoiled in that maze. Like, me?
2019, I remember most of the... I'm sure they were doing a great job that night. It just seemed... I went through House of 1,000, and it just seemed I was always just behind every single one of the scares. Oh, and it was just like, but I wanted to be... Okay.
Oh, I wanted it too, though.
Please scare me. No,
How is it going through knowing the scares? Or maybe you didn't know the scares. I don't know.
I the only people I knew of people in 2 mazes, who, my friend Jeremy, he was in, Pandora's Box.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And walking past and him just blowing me kisses. And so that was nice. It was like, oh, hi.
Oh, Jeremy.
And then one of my friends was in the Frankenstein maze, and he got right up in my face. Although I don't know if he knew he got right up in my face until later on that night.
What's been your favorite part of scaring so far?
My favorite part of scaring, the camaraderie, I think, is my favorite part. How you really... Everywhere I've scared, every group I've been with, you really become this team that looks out for each other. And I like that family feeling. And then you can commiserate. Oh, my back hurts so bad. Yeah, my knees are awful today. Or did you see when I got that really nice scare? Oh, I saw that. Did you see when this guy walked into this thing? Yeah, that was really funny. And it's the sense of community and home that's really nice. Like, even if you don't want to go in that day because your arm's hurt or you don't want to have to put on the makeup or things like that, you're going to get to see your family.
That's so sweet. Did you have that with LA Haunted Hayride? You said that was the other one that you did?
Hayride.
Hayride.
My little group, there were 4 of us. So Hayride's very different from Horror Nights in that it's all original characters. Mostly, I think they did do like a Ouija maze at one point, but for the most part, it's all like original characters. Um, and our little group of 4 in our one little section, we got really tight. And then we like knew the people ahead of us and the people behind us. Because for those who haven't done Haunted Hayride, the actual hayride portion of it, you get on, and then there are all these different segments. They're like different acts that you watch get done, where they'll do like an act. The year I was there, they were doing like a greatest hits year. This was 2016, and there was one skit that was a dinner party where then they reveal that all the food's people. And then once the skit's done, there comes a moment where like everybody in the skit notices the hayride, and then they rush it.
Ooh, love it.
And then there's a portion, or at least there was the year that I was in it, where you get off the hayride like you do for Terror Tram. You walk through a little maze, and then you get back on the hayride, and then there's more segments. And I was in the maze portion of it, and so we were really tight in our little maze, but we did know like the people in the segments right before they got into the walkthrough, and you'd get to know each other that way. But in general, it was, here's my little maze group and we're happy together.
Your little tight family in that one section. Yeah. You were allowed to speak for it or no?
I was not, because of the role I was playing. Because I was an animated doll, I did have to make mouth noises and like throat noises. But I was not supposed to speak. The girls who were like the haunted children who were playing with their animated doll, they did all sorts of ring around the rosies, come play with us, we would like a triplet, that sort of thing, and you could come join us. And they were great, and they were always on top of it. And I just made scary sounds and chased people.
Nice. I love that. Do you prefer a role where you do get to speak and make noises? Because I know we don't really do that with Halloween Horror Nights. We're not allowed to say anything.
No, we're not allowed to.
No.
And I actually really prefer that. Okay. I'm also a singer, and so working with all the speaking and stuff, your voice gets so worn out because you're screaming and you're speaking and you're doing all these different things, and it's constant. It's the same as Horror Nights, where it's a constant flow of people. And even just making like these monstery sounds in the back of my throat, and I'd warm up and I'd cool down, and it just wore me down. And so I preferred Horror Nights, like when I was, I did the bisect table kill in Terror Tram. And
she was cut in half, yo.
I was cut in half.
She was cut in half.
Bisect kill was the official title.
Yes.
And they had audio of screaming playing over me, so all I had to do was open my mouth.
I had that too. Oh god, everyone said I was spoiled because of that, because like other people had to use their own voice, and it really wears you out. Even if you warm up, like you said, it's gonna wear you down doing it for hours and hours, and you have to scream over the music, and it's loud. That's why we wear earplugs. Always wear your earplugs.
Absolutely.
But for Grindstone Kill, I was so spoiled. I was just sitting there. Every so often, I would have to lean forward because William is in the chat. William was one of my Jasons, actually, that year. I mentioned him quite a few times in my stories and stuff, and we did a YouTube video together. Yeah. But I just lean forward and move my hands. I don't even need to open my mouth. You had to open your mouth? Yeah. I didn't even open my mouth because my face was in a grindstone, and then I had to sync up with the screams. So I'd be like, just move my hands like that. You get creative with your scares. Do you have any advice for those who've been cast as a kill? Because that could be very difficult for a lot of people.
Kill, it's a team effort. You're not gonna get a lot of glory to yourself. You're distraction. And so every time the monster hidden in your room or the guy's killing you gets a scare, that's yours too. And you make peace with that, and you know that it's a good team effort, and you're working hard together. Because at the end of the day, their success is your success, and your success is their success. Also, play around with it. There's always ways, even as a kill, to get your scares, to be seen, to get what you need done. Like when I was table kill, there'd be times where I'd just be tired of the angle I was at, and so I'd lay down on the table and pretend to be just a full dummy. And so then the second you move, people are jumping and moving away from you. And that can be really satisfying. Plus, they gave me a squirt gun after a while.
Oh, yeah.
And once you've got water, you've got them.
Oh, God. The water gets me, I'll admit, whenever I go through some place and they squirt water at me, because you're not expecting it. And then in an environment, especially if someone is being chopped in half, your mind plays tricks on you and you think it's blood. It's just water. Not the cleanest water, but it's water.
No, but it's water. It works.
It's water. It's fine. I've gotten it in my eye before, and I was so scared I was more scared at the fact that I might get an infection from the water rather than the scare itself. I was like, oh God, my eye.
I've gotten it in the mouth before, just like, oh, this tastes like it's been in the bottle for days.
It doesn't taste like chlorine, because I've gotten that before, and I'm like, why? Why?
Hard plastic.
Hard plastic. Oh, yeah. So what's the difference between working in a maze as a kill, or, yeah, it's usually a maze when you're a kill. You're not going to be roaming around a scare zone as a kill. Like, that doesn't make sense.
I'm dying.
I'm dying, and I'm being murdered right in front of you. No, what's the difference between playing a kill and then just being, like, the scare in a maze? Do you have any advice for those differences?
Scare is more dangerous. It's more dangerous when you're the scary thing coming at people, because they're going to be people who are going to fight back, and so that's when you the get in, get out, and you really have to stay on your toes. I think it's more rewarding to be a monster, to be the scarer, the killer, but it's also harder on you,
like physically, mentally.
Yeah.
I
Mentally,
agree.
yeah.
I agree. I feel like I don't want to say the scarier, because you're scary regardless, but that's the point. I'd say the closer you get with guests, the more at risk you are. So I feel kill is pretty low risk. It depends on what kind of kill. Because I've heard horror stories of people in the cages, and they'd reach out and like be grabbed back, and it's like, whoa. But overall kill, less at risk than popping out in a maze, which is less risk than being in a scare zone when you're right there with the guests. Because and they're weirder. I don't know what it is about being in scare zones, but I just feel they're maybe it's me. I don't know, but God, the weirdos. They just come out of the crowd and they find you, and then they get scared of themselves. It's like they sniff you out, and it's like,
It's the old adage: the monsters at Universal aren't the scarers; it's the guests.
Yes, especially when alcohol is involved. Why do this to us? God damn it! Oh my friend Stanley, he got beer thrown in his face.
No.
Yeah, it was horrible. The poor thing. I felt so bad.
I'll remember, I refer to it as Bloody Saturday in my head. This was, Saturday, one of the Saturdays early on during Trick or Treat, 2018. The park had not fully opened yet. It was early admittance still. I was the first incident report of the night. I had a guy reach out and touch me inappropriately. That was fun.
No.
Yeah. Walked off set. We got him. He was kicked out before the parks even opened. So that was great.
Good for that, but unfortunate for you that you had to go through that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, the problem with that was by the time I even got back on set, I was not the most recent incident. We had 19 incident reports that night.
Was this the night that everyone was just pissed off because their team lost?
It might have been, because I'm not a sports person.
Me neither.
So I don't
sports
pay
ball.
attention.
What's that? I don't even remember what kind of sport
Quidditch,
it was.
That's all I've got.
Scaring is a sport. Come on. I'm rooting for my
friends. Sportiest of sports. It's a full contact sport. What are you talking about?
It's a full contact, and the sportsmanship is chef's kiss. We're there for each other. William says the trick-or-treat maze did such a great job. Yeah, you guys really did. Some of the people from the maze would come up to the zone every once in a while and like fill in slots, and so amazing to work with them.
You'd get Mariah sometimes.
Mariah
would fill in for Wolf. Some of our little Sams would do the opening ceremonies.
Yeah,
they'd be bust up and bust back.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so funny to see them take their head off, and they're just like, whew, all right, back to the maze. I'm like, bye, thank you. It was an honor. Thanks for being here, because they had to trek a long way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, but they'd get bust, so it wasn't a long walk for them, it was just a long trip.
Yeah, just mentality, though, too. It's like, after that ceremony, I'll tell you, every ceremony was different, and I don't know if you know this, but I don't imagine you have, but have you ever looked up the YouTube videos of the ceremony from 2018?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We'd watch it all the time. We'd be like, what are they doing? What are they up to?
Oh, God. Because I've watched quite a few of them. I've had them sent to me, too, once I started, like, doing TikTok and stuff, and I started talking about the wolf and the ceremony and everything. I've had people send me YouTube videos of, like, is this you? And I'd be like, yeah, it's me. And then I would tell them stories of I'd be able to point out exactly what went wrong every time based on what shoes was I wearing and where did I come from and what was it daylight or was it nighttime, because that would tell like where in the run it is because the daylight savings changing and all that stuff. And I could tell you, I'll say this to everyone, if I'm coming from very far away, further away than the other wolves come out, and it's daylight, that was an oopsie. I was late to my cue, and I had to make up the ground somehow. And so I'd be like, God, sorry, I'm going on a tangent. Oh, God, but my brain, because it was so hard. I didn't have a lot of makeup on. I only had around the eyes because my eyes were in the mouth, right? But it took a full team to get my gloves on and my head on and everything. And then I couldn't...
Oh, I'd watch it. I'd watch it every night. The different girls get into the wolf costumes.
Oh, I couldn't see, breathe, or move.
All of you. You guys couldn't breathe. Those things were hot. Like, they'd take it off and they'd be drenched in sweat. All you wolves.
I was very sweaty. Did not want to sit next to me after a shift. But I also... it would scratch up my nose right here. I would end up bleeding every shift because it would scratch right here. But aside from the point, I would have to rush and get it on. I don't know what was taking so long, but sometimes it took longer than other nights for them to help me get it in. Not their fault, you know, it's no one's fault, but sometimes it just it happens. And so I'd have to book it through a queue line. I'd go like back and forth through a queue line, backstage, run, almost bump into a stilt walker, and all the other monsters come out from way further back. So I'm with them, but that's where we would go. And then the wolf girls and I had to exit out of there, go forward, and then tuck away next to this other area. And that's where we would enter from when it was our time in the song, but that was our prep, was to like go out this way. And so I was like booking it because I heard the music starting, and then my supervisor stopped me and said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm supposed to be over there, and that took too long and I don't know what to do." And he's like, "Well, you're stuck here for now because it would look really weird for you to go out when it's starting." I'm like, you're right, but what do I do?" And then the stilt walkers would bend down and be like, "Pat, it's okay, little wolf, you'll figure it out." I'm like, "No, I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out." The best. Oh man, "you'll figure it out" is my favorite and least favorite thing that you get told by supervisors and scare coaches and things like that. 2017, that was one of my favorite things about working Terror Tram, is you just then get thrown into other mazes.
Oh yeah,
as they needed. Cool. And there'd be nights where they'd be like, "Okay, hey, you're finally here. Go ahead." You'd be like, "What am I even doing?" "You'll figure it out. Go ahead."
The worst is when they don't even walk you through the maze one time, so you don't even know the scare you're supposed to be doing. That was me and Saw when I had to dig through the guts. I don't know if you got called for that at some point.
I did every maze in 2017 at one point. I did every single maze. I did not do the digging through the guts and Saw. I did Buckethead instead.
I did Buckethead once too. Were you having trouble with the neck?
The neck was all right. I think I lost it like twice that night.
Oh, I full on
No,
lost
what
it.
I kept getting were guys who were confused, who'd come out and they'd be like, "Oh, she's dying," and then they'd notice the short shorts and the crisscross the leggings.
Mm.
No, they were tights. The
fishnet tights.
Fishnet tights.
Yeah.
And they'd go, "Oh man, hey girl, what's up?"
Oh yeah, I hated that. Oh,
I'm dying here. Can you not?
I would get people. So I gotta tell you, because camaraderie, right? You also did the same part at some point. So I got called. This was 2017, right? Yeah, that must have been. For Buckethead, because the girl who was originally in it, I guess, got sick in her helmet, and so I had to be called in. And I was like, "This is not. It's not the same helmet, is it?" Okay, it's not. Okay. And it just fit so weird on your head. It was like, if I just did this, it would spin a 360.
It was actually metal.
Was it?
It was actually metal.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was actual metal.
Why? Just, yay, durability. The main issue I had was with the neck part, because for those who don't know, it's the part in the movie. I don't know which movie was it. It was Buckethead. There were saw blades on this wall, and then they were wearing a bucket helmet with a chain around their throat, and they're being pulled into the blades, right? I don't understand why it wasn't on a retractable thing. Because it was so awkward to pretend like, oh no, it's pulling me in, but there's still some slack there. Oh no, I'm being pulled in by this invisible force, but there's slack in the chain. What? So I just had to pretend like I was pulling it against it, but nothing's happening. And the reason I'm holding here is because just muscle memory, the neck part, the Velcro, did not work at all. It worked for the first 15 minutes, and then it just stopped working. So I actually had to hold it the whole time.
I had better luck with the Velcro.
Yeah.
For me, the magnet that attached the chain to the neck tie. Ooh, sorry, door. That kept falling off of the magnet, and I'd be like, I'm free. No, I'm not.
That's another point I was going to make, because I had some awkward interactions with guests when they wanted to help me just because they knew I dropped the act. Sorry. But so the Velcro was totally done. I had to hold the metal thing there, right? This is before I knew the Velcro was done, but I was holding the metal, and then the Velcro just came off, and then I was holding it like this. And I just... It started with this one woman who came through with her boyfriend, and it started off with, oh no, she's gonna die! And then the thing came off, she's like, honey, let's just go. Let's just keep going. I'm like,
I don't know what to do for you
it's
now.
still going. It was the awkwardest thing. I was so awkward. But the worst part for me was probably being Amanda in the digging the guts scene, because I was that weird height where I can't bend over because that's going to hurt my back. So I have to do this awkward, and I can't do a squat the whole time because, dear Lord, my legs. So I had to just like spread my legs out a little bit more and then do a somewhat awkward squat behind the table. And the person who was the kill for that didn't talk to me at all. At all. We had no plan. I tried to ask him before because they would close this curtain and then we would switch out with the other person. I'm like, great, what am I doing? And the supervisor's like, oh, you're digging through guts, but don't like really dig through the guts because they're kind of fragile. Make it look like you're digging through the guts. And I'm like, I haven't seen this movie. What am I doing? Oh, you're trying to find a key in his gut. Is there an actual key in the gut that I could show off to them and do that? No, just dig through the guts. No. Okay, what's my set time? An hour 30. It was the worst set time I could get. An hour on, 30 off. Yeah.
Jeez.
And lucky me, they gave me a clock in that room too. So I would know exactly
you had every idea.
I was like, okay,
every idea
at least 10 minutes went by and oh my god, it's only been 2 minutes. Freaking hell. All right, just keep lightly digging through the guts with this goop that stained my hands red with a partner, bless his heart, didn't talk to me at all, so I didn't know how he was reacting, but he would just like every once in a while be like, Which is fine. That's a scare. That's fine. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't time it. I'm trying to time his reaction to when I would pull the guts out, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't time it because we didn't talk about the timing of it. And so I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, he's reacting now, so I gotta do the thing now. And it
Delayed
stayed my
reaction.
hands red for like over a week. My hands were red for a while. And I was doing hand modeling at the time, so I couldn't do any gigs during that time.
No. Oh, I'm sorry.
It really sucked. And then I stopped hand modeling after a while anyway, so it didn't really matter. But at the time, it was like this big deal to me because it's like, but my hands, I need to protect them. And now they're red. And
Kept feeling for me every time you'd be like, okay, I finally got all the makeup, all the blood off. I'm clean. Okay, it's time for work. Let's do this again.
oh, yay. Oh, that
Every
blood
weekend.
that year. It was so hard to get off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Blood that year.
God, because I felt bad for the people that had it all over them because they kept trying to do these different mixes, and I wish
And that would stain too.
I would say it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. I was scrubbing for hours when I got home, and it still wouldn't work. And they'd be like, "Oh, it's not water based; it's oil. So if you use like baby oil, it should help." And I'm like, "That didn't help either, though. Oh, it's alcohol based. Use an alcohol. Is it alcohol based or
then
not?" And it didn't help
The thing
either.
is, you'd stand there with the ISO on it. You'd stand there with that, and you'd think I'd stand there waiting for it to like crumble and things like that, thinking to myself, my skin is getting so dry. And I did have it both years, where after a while, it just the back of my hands started to get like crusty because they were so dry and they were breaking, and it hurt so bad.
I'm
they were
sorry.
getting
Yeah, lucky me, I was able to convince them somehow to give me gloves so I wouldn't have the blood at least on my hands while I was doing, the
Nice.
other jobs. But
Yeah.
I still had it for, my neck and rest of my arm and all that. So it was like, bless the makeup artists' hearts. They tried to help us so much, and they would say like, oh, try this, try this, try this. Have you soaked it for over 20 minutes? I'd be like, I've been standing here for half an hour, and then I'd go like this, and nothing's changed. What's going on with this blood, man? Oh, and it had such a strong stench of alcohol. I was like, yep, I'm home. Cool.
There's something about the smell of scare base. It's both intoxicating and nauseating.
It really is. It's like, I don't know if you ride horses or if you're anything interested in those kind of farm animal stuff, but not to say a horse is a farm animal necessarily, but I used to ride horses, and it's like very similar to that effect for me, where if you step onto like the stables for the first time and you get a whiff of that horse crap the first time, you're like, oh God, oh no. But then you get used to it and it starts to feel almost homey. It's not so bad anymore. It's the same with scare base. It's like, oh God, the smell of alcohol and everything. Oh God, it's so strong, and oh my God. And then after a week doing it, you're like, I'm home. It's nice. I like it. Yeah. You get used to it. Everyone I've talked to who said they gave up within the first couple weeks of doing it said, couldn't handle the smell of things, couldn't handle the costume, couldn't handle the fatigue, or they hurt themselves, God forbid.
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everyone.
It's not for everybody.
Mm-mm.
It's really taxing physically, mentally. You're not sleeping the way that you should be.
Mm-mm.
It's a lot. It really is. But it's worth it in the end. It really is.
I think so. That's what I keep saying. I got a lot of followers who were like, I didn't even know this was a job until I heard it from you, and it sounds like it's for me and I want to try it, but they're all like too young, so they're like, what? How old do you have to be to do this? And this is kind of why I'm doing this too, is like to give advice but also tell fun stories. Segue too.
Well,
sorry, I was gonna say segue to the stories.
I would advise anybody who's thinking about doing horror nights or one of the bigger ones where they open at like 3-4 p.m. and go to 2 a.m. Find a smaller one first. Los Angeles Haunted Hayride, at least when I did it, was only like 7 to midnight, which was really good because we didn't get breaks and we didn't have doubles, so you're just going that whole time. But it was shorter hours, and so it was still less stress on your body. And if you're not good with that, you're not gonna be able to do horror nights. Even with our cushy breaks and having doubles, it's a beast.
Because also the crowd certain mazes attract. Like Halloween Horror Nights, they're theme park crowds. Theme park crowds are different from like pure haunt crowds, I feel, from my experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because like if you're going to a haunt, it's like, this is what I'm here for. I'm just going through the one time usually, and I'm here to enjoy the scare. It's just the one maze, whatever. And that's what you get. And then theme park crowds are like, I'm here for the thrill. I'm entitled to being entertained. It comes with like a certain air about it. Not everyone is like that, mind you. But
I will say standard haunts, like when people are like, I'm here for the haunt, like Hayride, it's harder to pull off a scare. Like these people will get right in your face and they do it Universal too. That's not to say they don't, but it's more often that they get right in your face and are like, so are you gonna do something scary? I'm standing here waiting for you to be scary. And it's like, well, you're right in my face, sir. So I don't know what to do now.
I just shout taxes at them.
Yeah, like,
so what, you gonna scare me? Taxes. Bills due.
IRS.
Parents disappointed in you. What? Because at least...
The high school math test you didn't study for.
You know that nightmare where you're in your underwear?
That's
it really happened. Whoa! It's stuff like that. Because those comments, you're not going to scare those people. Because they already have the mindset, I'm not getting scared. It's not going to be fun for them or you. So if I'm allowed to speak... Even if I'm not allowed to speak, I might do it. Depends on the character I'm playing and the haunt I'm doing. Obviously, Halloween Horror Nights, I'm not going to speak because I'm not allowed to, but it really depends. But if someone gets in my face, I know I'm not going to scare them because first off, element of surprise is gone. They have the mentality of, you're not going to scare me, and that's no fun for either people involved. So what do? Make them laugh. Because being scared and being, finding something hilarious and laughing your head off has the same energy, and it's easier to jump to the other thing. So if you make them laugh, it's actually easier to scare them, if that makes sense. So if I already know I can't scare them, I'm going to try and make them laugh. And that's why I always do that comment of like, oh, you can't scare me. Try and scare me. And they're like an inch from my face, and I go, taxes. That usually gets them a little bit. They're just like, what? At the very least, they're taken aback because they don't expect me to be so quick with it, but it's happened so many times, I have it in my back pocket. They were expecting me to go like boo or something. No, taxes. Your parents are disappointed in you. Oh, get in their face like that, and it'll usually make them laugh, and then they're easier to scare later. Sometimes, but you'll always get those people. That's just like, I don't like your presence. Get out of my face.
And then there will be the ones that's just like, okay, just keep walking. I'm going back to my hide hole. You keep on going.
I told this story on TikTok fairly recently where teenagers, man, glad I was never one of them.
Teenagers, man.
Teenagers, man. And I was working this maze, this was back in San Francisco, and I was drenched in fake blood. If you thought my hands were stained badly after using it at Halloween Horror Nights, oh my god, my face. Carrie. I was like, I am just the perfect sunburn tone constantly for weeks, but whatever. It was fine. So I was like drenched in fake blood. I was like a zombie apocalypse survivor person, right? And my scare was to pop out and my guts are like hanging out or something, and I'm just like, help me. Then you could see like a bite on my neck, and I'm starting to turn, like, oh my god, I'm starting to turn, whatever. Group of teens they're like, you're not scary, that typical line, and they were not moving. I would go back in my hidey hole and I'd look at my monitor and be like, why are they not moving? They're holding up a line. What am I going to do? And they're like, pop out. I dare you. Pop out again. So I pop out again to try and get them to move, but they're not moving, right? So what do? I'm not allowed to touch people, but in this case, I knew it was okay. So I just go up to them, I boop one of their noses, and I leave a little bit of blood on their nose. I'm just like, leave.
There.
Like that, and the dude started crying.
No.
He's like, oh my god, she got the blood on me, oh my god. He starts crying, and then they run off, and I'm like, I don't know what told me that was gonna work, but I'm glad I did it. And then I go back in my hidey hole and the flow starts going again. I'm like, oh jeez, I didn't know how to get them to leave.
My worst backup was during Hayride.
Yeah.
Because we had like chain link fences. They weren't walls or anything sturdy. I scared a couple back into another couple who then fell into the chain link fence. Now they've all fallen into the chain link fence. The fence is like half tipped over. People are coming up and are just stopped at these people who can't get off the fence because the fence is now tipped backwards. I half broke the maze.
Oh god.
And I'm sitting there going, do I report this? Do I help them up? And I'm like standing over them and I realize, oh, they're not getting up because I'm still here.
Oops. You want to help, but you're the scary thing keeping them down.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna take a few steps back.
Bye.
You take care of yourself.
Oh, it's always so awkward
For the rest of the run though, the fence was like not fully upright.
Did you have any sense of pride with it too, knowing like I did that? Now it's a permanent
It's like
thing.
I broke the fence. I mean, I didn't fall into it, but
my
I got
scare
people to
broke
break
the fence. That was me. I love the domino effect though. That's hilarious.
That's great.
I love when people just bump into each other.
Your first fall too. Your first fall, there's just such a pride in it. The first time you get somebody to fall down.
I never know what to do though, because on the one hand it's like, yes, I made you fall, that's awesome, and then on the other hand it's like, are you hurt? Do I need to get an incident report for you?
Am I in trouble?
Am I in trouble for doing this? Usually I hate not speaking sometimes for Halloween Horror Nights because I always want to say, oh, I'm sorry, but if I'm not the character who would speak, then it's like, like, you okay? What do I do? Like, and then they'll start laughing usually, and I'm like, they're okay.
For me, it's always like, this is the part where I should be killing you, but I'm not allowed to do that.
How do you stop yourself from? Because your motivation is to kill usually, so how do you stop yourself? What do you usually do in those moments?
You want to get distracted. Like if there's somebody like new coming to the room, you get distracted by that. Like you allow the character to be distracted. Like this prey's already down. I've got it. What's other fresh meat? What could be coming at me? That sort of idea. Mm-hmm. And then in the trick or treat maze, I was a trigger scare, but I wasn't exactly a monster. I played the lollipop kill, Emma. Mm-hmm. And so I'd reach out to people, and then if they fell, which very often they did, because they thought I was a dummy, I'd go back to dying. It's like, excuse you, I'm having a moment.
This is my time, please. Can I just die?
This is my time. Can I just die in peace?
God, you're so dramatic.
If you're not gonna help me, like, I guess I'll just die.
Oh, I love the people who genuinely want to help. Not the ones who are being assholes about it. Like, oh, let me help you because this is about me,
She
clearly.
needs some milk.
Oh, are you bleeding? You want me to get you some bandages? Like, thank you. But I love the ones who are like sincere about it. And it's usually kids too. Like the kids are like, oh, let me help you. And it's like, oh, bless your heart, but no, keep moving. I got a job to do. Sorry. Oh man. What
Big
is
stroke to your ego though when they go, no, not the cute one. It's like,
stop.
Well, you think so?
I get so offended sometimes though, and a lot of my stories are based on my revenge scares because you can tell it's like that's not a sincere compliment. I want a sincere compliment. You're just being an ass because whatever. Yeah. Like when I was doing the Purge Scare Zone in 2017, and it's that small zone, right? I don't know if you did that too, but yeah.
What part in it? I was in the crossover, the crossover part before they entered the theater.
Yeah. Yeah. So that small zone outside between the two mazes, And I was working with a guy with a chainsaw, I believe, and then another one who was just on his own, and then I was the only girl at the time. And then every so often a dude would come by and be like, oh, there's the pretty one. Oh, look, a girl. Oh, she's not scary, whatever. And I would get my revenge scares, because if you've been scaring for a while, like several years, you know, especially if you have a certain prop you're really good with, and mine's a fake axe. Oh, I love a fake axe, and I had a fake axe that one time. Don't give me a knife. I'll just be like, I don't know distance, but fake axe, I'm like, I got you. So I
like a baseball bat for the same reason.
Yes, baseball bats, fake axes, like that distance, that length of and heft of a prop I can usually deal with. I love those. Or same hammer, whatever. So I had a fake axe. I was really excited about that. I had my gloves, right? Because I convinced them to let me have those. And I would turn my back to the flow. Because you're familiar, they would flow from one maze to the next. It's always that direction. And if I ever heard someone say, oh, there's the pretty one, and I would kind of entice that, you know, I'd tease them a little bit, like, oh, stick the booty out a little bit, my back is to you, oh, I'm so vulnerable right now, oh no, I can't see, I'm not looking at you, oh no. And then if I heard them say a comment, I would wait until they're in my peripheral, and I'd use the blunt end of the axe and get just in front of their nose. One dude,
you gotta know that stop point.
Gotta know that stop point. Oh, you can't do that unless you know your stop point. Yeah, absolutely. But I would do it right in front of their face, and one dude fell back into his friends like, whoa. I'm like, yeah.
My favorite thing about that spot was walking with the flow and then turning around quick into the people behind you.
It's all about creating that jump scare even though they're right in front of you. And that's the tough thing with scare zones.
I had one woman stop right at the entrance of the theater, and she, like, must have thought she was safe or something, and I looked right at her, pointed my bat at her, and just whacked it across my hands a few times, and she went, and then continued further into the maze. It was like, bye.
Bye. Thanks
I see you. You're not safe.
No one's safe. We know peripherals. I loved that because the mask was right in front of your face, so you could still see and breathe and everything and sweat, and it had somewhere to go. I always had some sort of mask. I would love a prosthetic every once in a while, please.
Prosthetics are a lot. Getting into them is a lot. It just takes a while. What is very nice about prosthetics at Horror Nights is at the end of the night when they take it off, they give you a hot towel.
Oh,
and you can just lay in that hot towel for a while.
Oh,
gorgeous.
Nice.
Love it.
Love Beautiful. That. Oh, we're so spoiled.
Yeah.
I count myself lucky though because whenever I would wear a mask, I had very little makeup to take off at the end of the night. So when I'm super tired, end of a shift, just wipe off the eyes, say bye everybody.
Get me the heck out of here.
And I would have a friend who was Freddy Krueger, and he had the whole hand painted, you know, and he was sitting in there in the chair when taking off prosthetics and all that stuff, getting the makeup off, and I'd be like, see you, Chris. Bye.
my carpool in 2018 was full on. He was in the Halloween maze, the Michael Myers, and he was the electrocution kill.
Oh.
And he just full prosthetics,
Jeremy.
all this makeup. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just had to get it all off, and I'd be sitting there scraping off my blood going, can I make this last long enough, or am I gonna have to sit around and wait for him?
Oops. Oh, that's another thing. It's like you gotta find that right balance of looking like you're taking your makeup off in a decent time, but also slow enough so you get a little bit extra. No.
For me, it was just, I don't want to sit around not getting paid.
No, that's it. Yeah, anyway. Absolutely. And fun fact, everyone, when you work at Horror Nights, and I'm sure other theme parks do this too, taking off your makeup is on the payroll. Like you get paid.
I will say that's something very nice about Horror Nights is because it's union. It's a union job. They clean your costumes. You get your breaks. They provide you with snacks. They pay you for putting on and taking off the costumes. You don't get that with Hayride.
Or most smaller
our
mazes.
Costumes were cleaned once in the whole thing. We weren't paid for taking off makeup or taking off our costumes at the end of the night. We didn't have snacks provided. except the year I was with them, they had a deal with Takis, the hot chips.
Yeah, I know Takis.
So they'd pass out Takis every night, to the point that I've had so many Takis in just a short period of time that I'm like scarred for it still. 5 years later, I can't eat Takis anymore. I can't eat them anymore.
Oh, I honestly didn't know Takis was even a thing until this magical Taki fairy at a concert once handed some to me and my friend. And I thank that rando every day for it. Glenn, my boyfriend, he buys Takis sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And bless his heart, he'll just sit down, have a few Takis, and then put him away. And then he'll just sit there. I'm like, you okay? And he's like, it hurts so good.
It hurts so good.
I'm in so much pain, but it hurts so good. He goes, he's like sweating. He's like, white boy can't hang. Like, why do you do this to yourself? Taki's not sponsored. Sorry.
Not sponsored, no.
But if you want to sponsor me, absolutely. I love you. But yeah, you can't overdo Takis, especially if you're not used to heat like that and those snacks, and it's gonna burn your tongue. And you shouldn't be eating those kind of snacks while scaring anyway.
No.
You need healthy stuff. You need nuts. If you're allergic to nuts, get some beans. I don't know. But trail mix. Oh, it's something healthy. Fruit snacks.
Those are my favorite nights at horror nights, though, are the potluck nights.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
For those who don't know, there's always a day a week, normally Fridays or Saturdays, in my experience, where it is just potluck. Everybody brings something in. And you have this full spread. People bring in veggie plates, fruit plates. We had people making matzo ball soup, bringing in pans of enchiladas and pasta. And talk about family and community. That's all family and community.
Oh yeah, some people would go all out. Like they're making stuff the night before and.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so nice. I wish I had the resources to be able to provide the same. I was so broke and so out of time because I was also working another job at the time. I was like, do we need chips? I could pick up chips on the way.
Well, you know what? Even then, if you're running late and you can just stop and pick up a bag of popcorn or something, it's gonna get eaten.
Yeah. As long as you're not just bringing cups, like provide some food. Yeah,
provide some food.
I was admittedly that person for a while. Until someone else did it, and then I was like, oh, I see why people would get upset, because, like, you didn't really provide food. Yeah, that's a cheap way out. I'm not going to do that anymore. So, if you're that person, sorry, not sorry, at least bring chips. I need my chips.
Stop and pick up a thing of Oreos or something. Dang.
Yeah, even that.
Also not affiliated.
Yeah, not sponsored, but Oreos. Love them. Sarah, I haven't visited family in a while, and every time I would go, I would always take 2 or 3 bags of Takis. People love them here. I'm in El Paso, Texas. Oh, yeah. Oh, I could see that. Yeah, I haven't been to Texas, but I know someone in El Paso, and yeah, I understand the Taki thing. I don't know why I didn't know that was even a snack for the longest time. 2018 was the year I found that out. I'm not gonna lie.
2 years on you.
Oh, yeah. So you got me. What has been the best scare you've done in your reaction as far as performance goes that you're really proud of, but also reaction from people? And they could be different scares, but story time. Let's go.
My favorite scare I got, 2017, I'm getting put into different mazes as nights go on. And I got into American Horror Story one night as the nurse. Which was one of my favorite spots that whole year. And the first time I came out, they have 2 pops. There are 2 nurses in the room, like across the room from each other. And you do, I think it was like half an hour in one spot, half an hour in the other, and then you had a half an hour off. And my first time popping out of there, I got my first Horror Nights fall. And it was this big guy, and I just took him down to the ground. He's backed up against the table that's in the room, and I didn't know what to do. I was just like, ha! And then I turned to his family, who all went, ah! And I went, cool, great, job done.
Going back in my hiding hole, bye.
But actually, one of my favorite places that year, I was very lucky and I got to swing into Wendy in the Shining Maze.
Ooh.
And there's something about being the hero that's very different from being the killer or the victim, in that you'd have people coming through cheering you on. They'd be like, yeah, Wendy, stab him, get him, Wendy, don't let him hurt you.
That's interesting.
And it was so bolstering, because you'd still, it was this whole routine, and you kept going through the routine over and over because they had the track playing.
Right.
And it was the 3 screams, one of which against the wall, against the wall.
It's the here's Johnny part for those who aren't familiar.
Here's Johnny part where he's coming through the doorway. And then you'd cut his hand with your knife. He'd pull back out. And then it'd start over. And as it started over, you could bring the knife up with the scream and scare the people coming through the door. And then they'd immediately realize who it was and go, Wendy, you gotta save yourself, girl. Like, and there's so much bolster, and people, literally, we'd have people going through applauding, and I was really scared about it because there's no barrier there between you and the guests. And you're not a monster, so they're not afraid to get near you. And I was afraid it was going to be another one of those, here's a lot of people touching me and feeling like they can get up at me. But something about being the hero, nobody messed with me all night.
That's
I was
fantastic.
there all night and nobody messed with me because they wanted me to win.
Oh, I never thought of hero parts as scares. That's interesting.
And you get them a lot. You had Ash in the Evil Dead maze.
That's
You've had
true.
the Ghostbusters, who get cheered for, and they get their jump scare, and then you go, oh yeah, Ash, kill him.
I don't know why I never thought of that. I always thought of like monsters, but that is absolutely true. There's also a hero aspect to it. That's interesting. Nice. And I'm so glad that no one messed with you in that role, because
nobody messed with me. Which, Tommy, who was supervising that maze that year,
I love
he was
Tommy.
also my supervisor for Trick or Treat. I said to him, I'm a little nervous about this spot because of how close I am to people, and he's like, we've never had anybody hit Wendy. We've never had anybody mess with Wendy. You're gonna be fine. And he was right.
That's great, because it sucks being hit. A lot.
It sure does.
Please don't ever go through a hunt if you know you're a fight or flight fighter.
Man,
because we tend to know when it's an accident, when it's just reflex, but it's
like
still
if
knocks the
somebody
wind
puts up
out
a
of you.
hand to get between them. We had one of the nights in Trick or Treat. It wasn't with me, but we had a guy wait for one of our principals to come out, and then just decked him.
Oh God.
The scare had happened. He'd been scared, and then he stood there and waited.
Wow. Did he get kicked out? Please tell me he got
did.
kicked out. Oh,
He
thank
did get
God.
kicked
But
out,
still.
It absolutely nuts. It's like, why do you do that? You came here. We're doing our job.
We're just trying to do our job and scare you. If you don't like being scared, why'd you come?
Why are you here?
Why are you being so violent to us? We're just doing our job. Don't take it so
There's
personally.
the other side of the spectrum. I have a friend who goes through every year, and I was really excited because she was coming through my maze while I was on set. And she's coming in the maze, and she is down. Her hood is up. She is like all pulled in on herself. I know she didn't see me because I said to her, oh, I was the kill. I reached out towards you with the lights flashed. I had the lollipop in my mouth. That was me. And she's like, I never saw that in my life. And it was like, you walked right past me.
I have a story like that, but it's not like scare acting related. It's just like, how did you not see that scare related? I was on Indiana Jones with my mom at Disneyland. And if you're not familiar with the ride, at one point there's this giant snake on the right of you, and it'll like lunge forward a little bit and scare you, right? Before you continue on the ride. And it took so much convincing to have my mom join me on the ride because we were just doing like mother-daughter Disney Day. It's not super common. I think it was for my birthday even. I don't remember what the occasion was, but we were just having mom and daughter day. And she hates any kind of roller coaster, even the small ones. She's like, I don't want it. Like, but Mom, it's fun. You'll enjoy it. I promise. Just hold my hand. It'll be fine. And I love roller coasters. Yeah. So, like, I had lots of convincing. And she goes on it, and she's like, I'm not gonna get scared, am I? I'm like, no. No, what are you talking about? I'll be fine. We come off the ride. No, we're on the ride, and we're in the front row, and she's on the right side of me, so her face is right where that snake lunges, right?
No.
And I'm looking over at her like, want to see a big reaction from my mom. This is gonna be hilarious. Oh my god. And she, this is what I saw, right? That's it. Big snake just
Oblivious.
Yeah, she's like smiling. She's having fun, right? And we get off the
set
ride.
dressings. It's very nice.
This is nice. She doesn't look to the right at all. Doesn't hear the snake at all. It's right there. And we get off the ride and I go, Mom, how'd you feel about that big snake? She's like, what big snake? The big snake right next to you. I didn't see it. How could you not see it? It was right there. It lunged at you. Oh, I had no idea.
How fascinating.
Like, what were you looking at? There was darkness ahead of you. What were you looking at? Oh, it's fascinating. But granted, I've done that a few times in mazes too, where I'm just like so distracted by something. I'm looking at something.
I'm the set dressing person. Like, I'll walk into a room in a maze and I'll be like, wow, the carpeting's right out of the movie. And they got that window just right. And
Me too.
look at the details. Meanwhile, there's a monster here and I'm like, hang on, I'm looking at things.
Yeah, I'm definitely one of those people that does the same, where I'm like admiring the set, especially if I've seen the movie before. If I haven't seen the movie or the show before, I had not seen American Horror Story before being the nurse. I was like that same role. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, oh, I'm scaring, whatever. But then more recently, during The Mess, I binge watched a lot of American Horror Story, including that one. Was it Murder House? It was Murder House. It was the first season, right?
No.
What was it?
I feel like it was later.
Oh, yeah. It
was Roanoke, wasn't it?
It was Roanoke. That's right. It was Roanoke. I remember now. But it's like that same kind of like, it's a house and there are people that died there and coming back.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's Roanoke. My bad. But I had seen Roanoke and I was watching it, specifically sitting down with my boyfriend going, I need to pay attention because I was in this maze and I never seen the show. And then after seeing the show, I was like, I could have done so much better with this role if I had just known the context. Damn it. And then I'm like thinking back going, I remember this because they did so well with the set and everything. I'm getting nostalgic. I'm getting flashbacks back to it because they nailed it. And I couldn't appreciate it at the time. So if you get cast in something that's like not an original idea, like it's based off of a movie or a show, absolutely do your homework beforehand.
Oh, watch your movie. Yes.
I always did it halfway through, like with Trick or Treat. Well, I couldn't find how to watch it. I had to borrow the DVD from someone, and that was halfway through the run. So, like, you'll run into those kind of issues, but more often than not, you'll be able to find it just streaming online. And I couldn't watch Trick or Treat until, like, halfway through the run. And I was so mad at myself because I could have played it so much better as the wolf. I didn't know that they were sluts. I could have been a slutty wolf this whole time.
Slut this whole time?
God damn it, I missed opportunity, that one. I was just trying to be scary. I could have been slutty. What?
It took me a few weeks to get a hold of Texas Chainsaw Massacre during the Titans of Terror, Terror Tram. And by the time I got around to watching the movie, like, anytime there was a scream near the end of the film that she'd scream, I'd be like, that's my scream. That's my scream that comes out of my... That's my scream.
It's me.
I know that scream.
I know it so well. That was me in, like, Killer Clowns, going through it, like, watching it after having gone through that maze. And after the first time, I was like, I don't understand anything that's happening. This is so hokey. It's so 80s. Like, it's so cheesy. But I appreciate the cheesiness because I love that. And then I saw the movie and went, oh, God, they nailed it.
This is really well done.
Oh, my God, they freaking nailed it. I need to go through again. So even going through mazes, too, not just acting in it, but just going through mazes, appreciate it more by watching it. But yeah, I am that person who would go through, if I'm familiar with it, and fangirl out, be like, oh my god, it's so exciting. Oh my god, this set. And then someone pops out, I was like, ha, hi. This though, your makeup. Oh my god. Just, I'm the complimenter.
I'm so that bitch who's oh wow. Oh wow. Look at you.
I gotta say, on the flip side, if anyone does that to me, I get so weirdly flattered. Like, I blush. Even though it's not my makeup, it's not my costume, it's not my job. I'm just scaring. I'm just wearing it. I'll pop out, and people will be like, oh, that's so freaky. Oh my god, you look so cool. I'm just like,
man, I just work here, but thank you.
Stop. You're flattering me. I'm supposed to be scary. Roar. Oh man. Sarah goes, the last haunt I went to, I didn't get scared till the end, but also was the person admiring all the makeup and special effects. One Scareactor was a bit annoyed he couldn't scare me. That's on the Scareactor though, because if you scare enough, you see all those kinds of people. I've done a TikTok on this, like the most common people going through a haunt, and that is one of those things. The oblivious person who's looking at sets and complimenting people. That is a very common reaction. So if
you start to get to know, yeah,
absolutely. Like there's a common theme, and everyone is different, of course, but there's a common theme to it, and one of those is the oblivious thing. You can't take it personally because that's part of their enjoyment. Like, yeah, your job is to scare, but if they are one of those people that just is having fun going through the haunt and not being scared, they're just admiring the set.
By all means.
By all means, absolutely. Like the sets and the costumes people, they need to get that what's a word? Ow.
Yeah.
I'm blanking.
Recognition.
Thank you. It was tip of the tongue syndrome. My God, recognition.
Yeah.
God, thank you. This is gonna drive me nuts. But they need recognition too because they do such a great job, and that's how I personally take that. It's like, I wanted to scare you. What a lost opportunity, but also. Yeah, sets and costumes, you deserve that. They are appreciating your work, and that's fine. So, and I do understand the annoyance on the flip, like on the other hand, I do understand that annoyance, missed opportunity, but you gotta think of it from a more positive perspective.
And let's be honest, the next person's coming through anyway.
Yep, every 4 seconds or so, you got a new person you gotta scare. So, good luck. Sarah goes, I loved Trick or Treat and made a full Sam costume. Nice. Oh, I want to see that.
I love Sam. I think he's just the cutest thing.
Yeah, I love Trick or Treat in general. Love it.
It helped that all of our Sams outside of the masks were these cute short girls, and then they'd go in and they'd raise their little fists and
I love them because
their lollipops.
They're adorable, but don't mess with them kind of girls.
No.
You know, like I love the spunkiness. Like I don't think they'll ever see this, but Tammy, Khalid, I love you guys so much. Like I'm calling them out. I hope that's okay. But God, they're just such spitfires when you get them riled up about something, and I'm like, you.
And we had so many of them because there was a Sam in every room. There was a Sam in every room, and everybody had their partners and their switch outs. I
would love
it. Just absolutely great.
I hate the fact that I'm so tall sometimes because I would have loved to play Sam, but I'm just too tall. I would love to play the creepy doll, you know, but I'm too tall. And I love the characters I get. I love playing the intimidating big characters or
let me tell you,
crazy
that
clowns.
was something really great about being in the Trick or Treat maze, especially since doing Terror Tram the year before. It was because we were right above all the Freddies, which was a sausage fest, and then there were only 3 girls up in the Texas Chainsaw part, and everybody else was a dude. And I love those guys, great guys, wonderful people. But you start missing the estrogen a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And so, Trick or Treat, all the Sams were girls. Half of our school kids were girls. All the wolves were girls. Me and the other Lollipop Kill, and it just was so nice to have all these women in the maze.
It's nice to have that balance for sure. Yeah, I feel it, because there were a lot of Jasons, you know, and...
Yeah.
And even then, I kind of got this reputation of I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like I got this reputation of being this very quiet girl. Because I would go off my set, and then I'd go into my own little section alone, and then just listen to music, because that's how I would calm down after a set, and that's my break time. And I am an extroverted introvert, as they say. I love talking to people, but I am ultimately an introvert, and my gauge goes back up by being alone, rather than extroverts whose gauge of socialization goes up by being social. And
and you've got to conserve that energy to keep going all night.
Yeah, and you do you know, but apparently I got that rep towards like the beginning-ish of the run, being like that. No one really knew me because I would just go off alone. But one of my Jason's, Chris, big guy, just really intimidating looking guy, but he's
naturally a Jason.
Naturally, right? And he would come over. I was listening to my music and just like having a snack, whatever, and he comes over and he's like, "What are you listening to?" And he grabs my earbud and listens to it. It's Sucker for Pain from Suicide Squad, that soundtrack, and he was like, "I did not peg you as the kind of girl to listen to this music. Who are you?" And I'm just like, I also have musicals on here too if you want to listen. What do you want, some Michael Jackson? Like what do you expect from me? I like those songs too. I like everything.
It's like, I mean, if you want Queen of the Night from the Magic Flute, do you want an aria?
Yeah. No? I got some tuna. You want some tuna? I'm a nice person. And after that, he started talking to me a lot more, and he thought I was interesting because I would be quiet, but then I would say something random every once in a while. I was also known for, I don't know if you know this, but I was known for taking my grindstone face, like my mask, that gross thing. I would start off every shift. I'd walk through, grab my mask in front of everyone, go, "Well, back to the daily grind."
No.
Put the mask on.
That's awful.
And I was like, "Stop it." Oh my God. I would do it every day. And then I would go to my grindstone and I would do a pelvic thrust and then sit down.
I'd pull the whole back is killing me thing every now and then up in oh, my back's killing me. Which it was. That table.
Oh, I heard.
I don't know how bad the grindstone was, but come like even 3 weeks in, I didn't have a double anymore. It was me or empty. My double switched to the cage.
Was it Aubrey?
And no, Paige.
Oh,
was Aubrey's double.
Okay.
Because Aubrey's double quit or moved or something. It didn't work out with her.
Yeah.
And my double, she wasn't able to be in there, and they had so much trouble filling that spot every night. Because it was such a specific build, they'd send girls who were too tall, and they couldn't, if it was landing, like, really wrong on their body. They'd send girls who were too short, who were, like, choking in the spot. I don't want to give away the whole illusion, but you're kind of half in a table, because your back end's not real, and your front end is. And it's a tight space, and you've got to make it look as real as possible. And they kept sending girls who couldn't fit, and if you were just a little too buxom, you couldn't breathe there. And we'd get it. It was like, it seemed to be every night we'd get somebody in there, and after their first set, they'd be gone again. They'd go somewhere else because they couldn't stand it.
That sucks. Good for you for keeping with it, though. Yeah. My God.
You know, I stuck with it. It really, I mean, I make the joke, but it really was murder on my back.
After, especially how often you have to do it and how long you're out there and all that stuff. It's one of those things that's like, you got to listen to your body. If it's hurting, but you could tough it out and without making it worse, then do that, because that just comes with the job.
Lots of
stretching, painkillers. I am going to make a YouTube video showing what's in my Scareactor bag. Because everyone's got that toolkit, you know. What's in your bag? What's in your bag, Amy?
You gotta have the water. You gotta have the snacks. In fact, I got known there for a while as being the lunchbox girl, because I had a separate cooler lunchbox that had all my food in it.
Hey, do you? So I had a full suitcase.
I'd have my scare bag and I had my lunchbox. And Painkillers definitely. Jacket, because the nights start out so warm and then they end up so cold.
I wear a onesie. I'm one of those girls. But to be fair, as a wolf, I was scaring with Sky, who apparently, according to her, and I believe her, she originated the onesie trend many years prior. I believe it because she could pull it off, and who would have thought? But she told me about it. She was like, oh yeah, I wear onesies. It's super comfortable at the end of the night. It keeps you warm, all that stuff. It's cute. And I had a few onesies, so we became the onesie girls. And every day we would just wear a onesie, jacket, whatever.
It felt like the end of 2018. I felt like the odd one out because I wasn't. It felt like everybody else was wearing onesie.
It was definitely a trend after a while. Yeah, it was getting around. But yeah, that's okay. You didn't have to. I was so stubborn against it in 2017 because I knew people did that and I had the onesies, but I was like, no, I'm going to wear a jacket. I'm not going to wear a onesie. That seems weird. And then I met Sky and I was hanging out with people who just wore onesies. And I said, well, I'm not sleeping in them because they're too uncomfortable to sleep in. Might as well wear them. Yeah. Why not? I'm tired. I'm cold. Ugh, just do it. And then I loved it. So I kept doing it.
That's my favorite. That's also a great thing about HHN is you roll in looking like shit. Who cares? I'm about to put on a whole bunch of monster makeup. And then you can leave looking like shit. We're not getting sleep. We're...
Exactly. Take all the makeup off.
I don't have to look nice for this.
I swear, I didn't know what Sky and Aubrey... I mean, I know what Aubrey looked like because we scared together in 2017, so I had an idea of what she looked like without the prosthetics. But Sky, I only ever met her when she was already in her prosthetics. And the wolf prosthetic covered the nose and the brow line and everything. And, like, she had the fake teeth. And, of course, she would take the teeth out every once in a while. But that was it. That's all I knew.
Man, first day I saw Aubrey in that makeup, I was like, girl. Oh, she looked so good.
She looked so good. Oh, she was fantastic to work with, too, because we had sets together, and I couldn't see. So if someone was messing with me and I couldn't see them, she would go and just point at them and walk with them in the maze while I went and got security. And I said, that guy touched me. Follow the wolf. And there was that one time with the really stupid guard. I hate insulting people. But come on, where someone pet my back and, like, pushed me a little bit. I was like, who the hell did that? And Aubrey, bless her heart, this one was following him through the maze, pointing at him. This one. And so I ran to the security person. I said, hey, you see that guy? He touched me. Who? The one the wolf is pointing at. Where? You see the wolf dressed like Snow White? Yeah. Who's she pointing at? Where? Do you need a wolf escort? Follow me. And then I would, like, guide him through the crowd, and he was so slow. I was like, come on.
And there it's you get to the point where it's like, are you even trying to help me?
He wasn't though, because it was the same guy who did nothing when I was full on harassed/assaulted, but according to the sheriffs, it wasn't technically assault because he kept his hands off me. But anyway, that's a story time on my YouTube if people are interested in seeing that, knowing what I'm talking about. Anyway, so it was the same guy. So he was awful. I hope he doesn't get his drop back. I don't wish that upon anyone, but that guy really effed me over several times. But I did the whole Will Smith to Jada Pinkett Smith, this guy. Right here. And he still was like, where?
What do you mean where?
Get him! He's here! He's walking! He's out of the zone! He's like, oh, well, I can't do anything now. Oh, my.
It's the whole Patrick driver's license thing.
Right? Seriously, though. It's just, oh, my God. It gave me a big headache just interacting with him. Man. Like, dude. Oh, no. Get out of here. God, I hated that. But yeah, it wasn't until I went over to Sky's house with the other wolf girls, and we got ready together for the, like, after the cast party, the Halloween after scare party. Because we can't celebrate Halloween, so we usually celebrate Halloween after the run is done in this big hoorah. So we were getting dressed up for that Halloween costume party, and I see her for the first time, and I go, is that what your nose looks like? Oh my God, it's so dainty. Like, you're really pretty. I had no idea. And I was just staring at her for a while, and she's like, you okay? And I'm like, you just look so different without the prosthetics. I'm trying to get used to it.
Did you guys get in Scare Zone 1, did you guys get evacuated the night it all flooded and we had all that rain in 2018?
Oh, that's
The
another
night of
story
the,
time. I've told this
unquote riot.
oh my god. So this is a fun story if you'll allow me to say it. So you know that big wolf head that I wore, right? And that was pretty much it. I had boots on and then a leotard and a dress, so it was easy to move in. The main issues I had were my gloves and my head. So Dan came through. He was like area supervisor, you know. He comes through when it's raining, and he's like, "We still need people out there to scare." Everyone else was in our break area in the building. Playing video games. That's what we did. It was a potluck day too, so we had food, we had video games, we were chilling, whatever. But Dan comes up to me and says, you got to get out there and scare too. And I said, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely. I want to scare. I'll be careful with the wetness. I don't mind slipping and sliding a little bit. I'm used to it. It's fine. The head of the makeup and department for the ones who take care of the heads and the gloves and everything, bless her heart, she's just such a spitfire, grabs my arm, turns to Dan, and goes, "She's not going anywhere." I'm like,
Okay, I'm not.
"Please elaborate, Liz. I'm confused what I'm doing. This is between you two. I'm just gonna sit back and watch." And she starts yelling at Dan, going, "It is gonna get moldy and mildewy, and I'm not making a whole new head for her, and that foam, it will need to be replaced, and I don't have time for that, so no, she's not going out there. We are protecting this head and these gloves from the rain. She's not going out there at all while it's raining." And Dan's like, "Okay, Noelle, you want to go up to the break room then and just hang out until it stops raining?" I said, "Okay, sure, yeah." And so I just hung back and played video games, and every so often the zombie kids would switch out because they didn't have the same issue with the head, and they were careful about it, but Dan would come back every once in a while, and I was itching to scare. So I was like, is it time? And he's like, "No, just sit tight, Noelle. Other people, you come." Okay, I guess I'll just keep playing Mortal Kombat and eating Snickers.
Oh well, guess you'll pay me for it.
Oh, guess I'm getting paid to play video games and eat candy. Oops. I tried. I said I could go. You said I can't, so that's not on me.
See, we had a mildew problem in our maze anyway.
Oh god.
Because we had the school bus lake. For those of you who've seen Trick or Treat, the school bus ends up getting driven into a lake in a quarry, and sinks. And we had that as one of the rooms in the maze, and it had actual water in it.
I didn't know it was actual water. Oh,
but for some reason, the first few weeks, they must not have thought to treat the water, and we ended up not just with mildew, but with bugs. We had little like no-see-ums that were breeding in the water, and then we're creating clouds in that room. And they finally they treated the water with chemicals, the way you should of any standing water, with like chlorine and bromine and stuff. But the smell of the mildew and the bugs that were breeding it back in there, and then after the rain, now the whole thing's flooded. Luckily, I was up on a little step where I was, because I was in T-pose all night up on my little step. So I was out of the water for the most part, but everybody else was trudging through water and wet. And so our mildew problem got worse because you couldn't treat the whole dang maze.
Oh man. Oh, that sucks. Oh god. And then did people get sick from that? Like
no, you could just smell the mildew through the whole maze, which I mean, I guess gave it a feel, because we're always putting smells in your maze and stuff. Just the end of our maze was supposed to smell like pumpkin, because of Sam's real face, and he was throwing up pumpkin and stuff, so it was supposed to smell like pumpkins, and instead the whole maze just smelled like mildew.
Fantastic. I don't know why they didn't treat it sooner. It's one of those things you should know better. Come on, you're a theme park.
It's Southern California.
It's true.
It's like, Jurassic Park is right there.
Yeah, how do you treat that water? Come on now. They should know better. And also, we can't predict rain. I felt so bad for the guests that night too, because so many of them complained and had to get their money back.
We could hear Toxic Tunnel from where we were. We could hear
God.
everybody gathered in Toxic Tunnel.
Oh man, it was a mess. California, we don't plan for rain. We're not like Florida, where it rains every day.
No.
It is very
When it
rare
rains,
occurrence.
we panic.
Yeah, but the thing is, it does still rain that season every once in a while. So why not?
I mean, heck, it rained this morning where I am.
Right? Like, it still rains every once in a while. So why not plan it a little better? But I can't fault the theme park because it's California as a whole. Even the streets aren't really planned for rain.
Yeah.
Ugh, complaining about lack of rain over here. Oh my. Sarah says first off, I don't have the costume anymore, but the head was made out of a pumpkin-shaped pretzel container and snowboarding jumpsuit. That's dope for Sam. Yeah, for the Sam costume.
That's very clever. That's very clever.
That is very clever. And then they also say I'm heading out work at 5 a.m. Oh God, good luck. Best of luck. I could never do that. I could never do that.
That's me. I'm the opposite. I'm the exact opposite. Work until 2 a.m.? Absolutely. Start work at 5? No, thank you.
Oh, yeah, I'm such a night owl. I can work until 5 a.m., but I can't get up for a 5 a.m. shift.
Nope.
I could try and go to bed early, but as soon as it hits, like, 7:30, 8 p.m.-ish, I'm
awake.
I'm awake.
Yeah.
I'm more awake, and it didn't help.
So you gonna try to go to bed early, like 10, 11? This is my me time.
Early
this is when
for
I'm
me.
best.
Early for me is midnight. That's early for me. And it didn't help that Glenn was working overnight shifts too, and he was on that schedule. So he would come home at 6 a.m. and then we would hang out for like a little bit or just chat for a little bit. Before we lived together, we would just chat a little bit because I was up to work out that early, and then I'd come home and then go to bed.
Yeah.
That's the trick though, is I needed to sleep because my shifts never started until 10 a.m., which is fine by me. That is fine. I liked that. That was when I was starting to wake up, so it was fine. And I don't typically drink coffee. Halloween Horror Nights didn't help with that though, I gotta be honest. That's when I started liking coffee, was because of Horror Nights. But I would wake up early. I would wake up at 5 a.m., work out from 5:30 to 7:30, come home, nap until 9:30, wake up, work at 10, because I hate people, and there was no one at the gym that early. So
mornings are people.
I would much rather, because I wanted to work out. I'm not that person. I like to say I'm not that person, but I guess I have to admit I'm that person now. I didn't know how to eat healthy. I didn't know how to work out really. Like, I knew how to work out better than eat healthy. And that's how it balanced out, because I would eat like crap, but I work out every day. So I maintained the balance, right?
Yeah.
And so I could not lighten up on a workout knowing that if I did that, I would start to gain the weight and not fit in the costumes anymore. And that was a big thing.
Yeah.
And I do cosplay too, so I needed to fit in my costumes. And general acting stuff. So I worked out. I needed to work out every day. To fit my schedule, I could have worked out around 6 p.m. And I tried that. Too many people. So I would go on my lunch break around 1. Too many people. It was so crowded. So I asked my friend, because I need someone to hold me accountable, and I was too stubborn before, but then I admitted it to myself, and then I got a friend who was willing to wake up that early with me and work out at the same gym as me. And I said, "Hey, want to work out this early?" And she's like, "Yeah, I could do that. I'm a morning person." I'm like, "Great. I need that energy because I'm not." And
there.
that was the best thing I could have done, because knowing that she was there, and if I got lazy with it and just bail on her, I was being a bad friend and a bad human being, and that got me out of bed more so, because I could always justify not working out, but I would get up early and then just go to sleep.
I used to have I mean, it sounds late in the day, 11 a.m. ballet class, but the thing is, I had a 2-hour drive to this ballet class, and also I wanted to eat before I'd go, so I'd get up at like 7, and knowing that there were people in that class that would know if I wasn't there, that's what every time my alarm would go off at 7 a.m., it was like, all right, gotta go.
There's no excuse. Gotta do it.
Yeah.
There were times I felt bad because I was late by like 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes because I was moving so slowly, but I would go and I would apologize profusely saying, I'm so sorry. I had a slow day, slow start to the day, but I'm here. Let's work out.
Can't do that with a dance class. You show up late, you're not welcome inside.
Oh my God. Yeah, I would imagine that too.
And then you've driven
stuff.
2 hours for nothing.
Oh, that's a great motivator, actually. It's like, I gotta leave early. And the thing with traffic, I'm sure this is anywhere, but especially with LA, traffic is you have to leave at this certain time because if you leave even 5 minutes after that, you're an hour late.
Yep. Absolutely.
So you gotta really plan ahead. Oh man, but it
there
is
was a point they
almost
changed my call time at one point.
Yeah.
Where they changed it back like half an hour, but I ended up having to then leave like an hour earlier because of. Because it ended up hitting me right in this like 3 o'clock pocket where people were taken off early or whatever. And just that slight change had me going, well, guess I'm getting up earlier.
Well, gotta bite the bullet. Well, back to the daily grind. It comes full circle.
Oh no.
So we are well over our time, actually. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you.
Yes.
And I'm perfectly fine chatting some more, but just out of respect for you, and I need dinner and all that.
Eat.
What? Gotta eat. I'm eating better, though. I'm learning. Do you have any other advice for people who have never scared before?
Get to know your body really well. Get to know where your limits are and get to know where your muscles stop. Because a lot of that self-control really helps with scares because you're getting in people's faces and you're like throwing objects near them. And so the better you know your body, how to control your body, the better you're going to do scaring people.
And a lot of that will come with time too. Absolutely. I agree. Yeah. Know your body. Listen to your body. Because there is a big difference between I could walk this off and I could push through my set and I need to stop right now, otherwise I'm going to do serious damage. So listen to your body, what it has to say. Feed yourself good food, high protein. Stretch. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We say this every time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Any advice for auditioning?
For auditioning?
Yeah.
Know a lot of the different horror archetypes. Werewolves, vampires, zombies, and especially if you're auditioning for HHN, Universal Studios Hollywood, never drag your foot. Never do the foot drag.
Never be a zombie, just in general.
Never be a zombie in general because they know a lot about zombies at Universal Studios Hollywood, but also never do the foot drag. Scott hates a foot drag.
I didn't know that. I knew not to be a zombie because at the time Walking Dead was a thing and it was just so overdone. Yeah. And everyone goes and does the zombie walk.
I have had Scott tell me, you do a foot drag, you're out.
Interesting. Oh, yeah, that's good advice. Don't do the foot drag at Halloween Horror Nights. You could do it at like a smaller haunt. I'm sure they don't care as much. But specifically Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood, the casting director hates foot drags.
Yeah.
Don't be a zombie. Just don't be a zombie. Don't do a
Just
foot
don't
drag.
be a zombie.
Just don't be a
general.
zombie. Be more creative.
Yeah. Be creative, know the different kinds of characters, and don't hit the cones.
Don't touch the cone. Scare the cone. Don't touch the cone. What was your character archetype that you chose to scare with, whether announced or not? Like you usually.
I feel a little nervous telling you this because it was a werewolf.
It's okay. I never was a werewolf before I was cast as one anyway. I never even auditioned as a werewolf. I like to joke saying, like, people are like, how did you get this part and all that? I would tell them, I didn't eat beforehand. I was typecast. Which is not true. It's a joke. Always eat beforehand. Not, like, right beforehand. Swimming rules, guys. Don't eat 30 minutes before scaring.
Oh, also, always be polite. You never know who you're talking to. Always be nice to everyone involved.
That's great advice in general for
always
life.
Be nice.
Yeah.
Smile. And keep in mind that even if you don't get it, it could just be that they have nothing for your body type this year, or they've got people who are exactly your body type but have worked it 6 times.
It could be literally any reason. You don't get cast, so don't take it personally.
Reason. You have no idea.
Oh.
And it's not necessarily because you're bad.
I don't know. This also, your advice of being like friendly to everyone and smiling at everything like that, that is great advice that I don't think we ever touch base on, because it just sparked something right now. I need to tell this story of other advice. I see this a lot, but there was one occurrence where it was just so severe that it creeped all of us out and security was almost called. So I'll tell the specific story, but the general advice is be yourself in the audition until you have to be a character. Don't be the character the whole time. That's not what they're doing. It's
a job interview where they're going to ask you to be a monster.
Exactly.
You are not going into it as a monster.
Because if you're acting as a monster the whole time, it shows unprofessionalism, and also they don't know who they're working with. They don't know who they're hiring. They need to see the professional and then the character. So make sure to have those differences. And feel free to put on a character beforehand. If you're like generally a pretty quiet person and you know that, feel free to put on a character where you're a little more bubbly and show your personality, and then switch to, now I'm scary, and make that big difference. But they want to see that difference. They want to know who they're working with. So be yourself up until they ask you to be a character, and then be in character. And if you need a little warm up before getting in a character, it's fine. Take a second or two. I always take a second or two. Like if they're like, scare the cone, I'm like, great. Then I'm the character. It's fine. Take that second if you need it. But make sure to make that distinction. And the story behind this advice is...
Oh, no.
It's a big one, Amy. It's so bad.
I'm already cringing.
It's so cringy. Oh, my God. This was actually an audition for Grinchmas. And so when you're auditioning, it was not at a hotel. It wasn't at Universal. It was actually at a studio in Burbank.
Screenland?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You know it.
I'm very familiar.
I'm familiar. Yeah, we're all familiar with Screenland. But there was, you walk in the front door. To the left, there is a desk where there was this woman checking people in and assigning the numbers and giving you the paper to fill out and all that stuff. But you wait in a big line for your call time. So I was like, okay, my call time's 11. I arrived like 10 minutes beforehand. And then like, I don't know, few people got there before me, but it goes in order of the call time. So the ones at the desk were like for the 10:30 slot or something like that. But you're in line. So I'm in line. I'm chatting with some girls ahead of me and getting to know them a little better. This guy stops everyone in our tracks at this same point. But he goes up and the woman's like, "What's your name?" Keep in mind, she is like asking for your legal name, not the character you're auditioning for. And he goes, I need to back up. I'm horrible at this story. So sorry. Before he gets there, we're already kind of side-eyeing him because he had his earplugs in and he was watching clips of The Grinch from the movie with Jim Carrey, and he was imitating it, but like really loud. It's fine if you're just like mumbling to yourself and everything, but he was like, I am the Grinch. And we're just looking at him going, okay, you know, like, do you, boo, but also
that's fine.
You're practicing. Okay, it's a little loud.
It's a little late. It's a little late, but
fine. Whatever. He gets to the desk and she asks, okay, what's your name? And he goes, I am the Grinch, like that.
No.
And she goes, honey, I am not playing this game today. What is your name?
Honey, I am not.
And he's like, almost convulsing. He's just like, I'm the Grinch. And she's like, I am asking for your legal first and last name. I am just trying to sign you in and assign you a number, sir. What is your name? And he's like, he's convulsing again, about to do it again.
No.
And she's like, okay, if you say you're the Grinch one more time, I am calling security and booting you out. All right? Give me your legal name now. I'm not playing this game. And we were all like, he was making a scene about it, like legitimately. We were all like, oh my God. And, you know, woman's intuition, there was something off about this guy. There was something off, like some danger, stranger danger. And security was right there and like would follow him to the next room and everything because we were keeping an eye on him. I actually sat next to him in our waiting area when we were filling out paperwork saying like,
Mm-hmm.
who are you, who are you auditioning for, what are your
Tell me
skill
you side-eyed
sets,
that
all that
paperwork.
stuff.
Tell me you side-eyed that paperwork.
Who are you? The Grinch.
No!
Skill sets. Sewing a Santa costume.
No!
Making... He was filling it out as the Grinch. And I auditioned with him, and the audition was just okay. Like, it wasn't, like, outstanding like Chris Page would. And then when I auditioned the first time, he was amazing.
Chris Page.
I love Chris Page. He was just spot on as the Grinch. This guy, though, it was just like, okay. Okay. Like, I don't want to say bad things, but you really screwed the pooch there beforehand.
Yeah.
To the point where they actually told Scott and the other casting people beforehand, like, this guy is a little... Security will be in here with you. And security did follow us in there and was watching him specifically the whole time. And oh my God, dude. And and they tried to help him. They did.
Yeah.
There were people that would come into the waiting room and just like talk to him and say like, hey, we appreciate the commitment, but also we want to get to know you a little bit. Like, who are you? I am the Grinch. No, but seriously, who are you? And they tried to help.
Although, to be fully honest, I would have loved if he pulled out his wallet and his legal name was the Grinch, or Grinch, the.
I would love that too, but that was unfortunately not the case.
I had something similar happen once at a Disney audition where this redhead girl showed up dressed as Anna, hair and braids, full thing, is quoting lines from the movie and singing Love is an Open Door, and it's like, oh, honey.
It's just, you're trying too hard at that point. Pull it back.
This isn't for cosplay. This is for a job.
It's one thing if you're dressed inspired by the character to help them see you as it.
If you're going out for Belle and you come in blue and white, like, I get it.
Yeah, or yellow, or if you're auditioning for Grease and you come in with like a leather jacket, but not like like a 50s Thunderbirds jacket, like it's inspired by. That's fine. It helps them see it a little easier. But I there was another time the year prior when I auditioned for Grinchmas, there was a guy in the full fur cloak, hair with the curl, auditioning for the mayor.
No.
Yep.
And the thing is, what people don't realize is you're also cutting yourself off, because maybe, I mean, clearly he was a little mental, but maybe the Grinch guy, they would have looked at him and said to themselves, that is the perfect Mayor Who.
Right. Like, just because you're auditioning for a certain part doesn't mean that's what you're going to get cast as.
Right.
So they want to see your personality and see where you fit. And it's happened to me before, too, where I would come in as my usual bubbly self, and then I have to, like, act like a really tough character. But then I would get called back for a different bubbly character because they liked my personality coming into it. So you don't know. You really don't know. So always go in as yourself. Be personable, be friendly, be a person they want to work with, and then you show them your acting skills.
Right.
And your performing abilities. So thank you for bringing that up, Amy. I don't think I've ever addressed that before, but that was a really important thing because I have seen that before where people have just like come in as the character, and it's like that all it shows is you're unprofessional. I know in your head you're like, I am this character, I want to show them I'm committed. Yeah. But that's not what they see. They see unprofessionalism.
Yeah.
They're not hiring the character. They're hiring you as the character. So they want to know who they're working with and everything. So yeah, don't shoot yourself in the foot there. Be yourself. And it's really funny, especially if you go in, I'm really bubbly and stuff, and then you're auditioning for a monster character, and then you're immediately like monster scary, show them like the quirkiness. And it
also shows them just how good you are, because if you come in dark and scary and brooding, and then you play something dark and scary and brooding, now they've seen one thing.
But also, if you come in bubbly, and then you do a monster, dark character, maybe they'll cast you as like a crazy clown, because they see the bubbliness. But also they're crazy. So you never know. Give them the range if you have range. Give them a range if you have range. If you
have the range, darling.
If you have the range, darling. If you've done this as long as we have. But also if you don't have the range, still like be yourself going into it and then dip into a character. Because even the slightest dip in a character, they'll see it. They know what they're looking for. They've done this for years. Come on. But yeah, so that's great advice. Thank you for giving that, Amy. Anything else you want to say before we call it, before our self promos?
Dang, do I hope Horror Nights happens this year.
Oh, girl, are you gonna do it? Are you gonna do it if it happens?
If I'm still in Southern California, yeah.
Are you thinking of moving?
The plan, I had a place in April in New York City.
Oh, wow.
And then the mess happened, so that fell through.
Oh, God, I'm sorry. What a big move, though. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, I'm happy it happened before I moved, because otherwise I would have been out all my savings.
True.
But,
count your blessings. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so at least it happened before I made the move.
Yeah, and you're still planning on maybe going back?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have family out there, or
no, it's I'm a singer and actress mainly, and that's where the Broadway is. The Broadway.
I was thinking that was the reason. I just wanted to make sure. Like, yeah, you're there for career-based stuff.
Yeah.
That's the same reason I moved to LA and movies.
Yeah.
But now I'm monster on TikTok. Awesome. Well, I hope to see you on Broadway one day. I am definitely rooting for you.
Dang.
That would be great. Absolutely. New York, that's its own monster. That's completely different culture. I have family up there.
It's a whole different monster.
It's a whole different monster.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Spitting. I mean, it is so... It's nice because... Here's the culture difference that I've seen between New York and California. And keep in mind, I've never lived in New York, but I do have family out there, so I've experienced being there.
I've lived in New York for short bouts of time.
So you tell me if this is true, all right?
Okay.
The difference I see culturally for like personality-wise is Californians will be really nice to you, but not kind to you. Like, they'll be like, hey, friend, but then if you ask them to help you out, they'd be like, oh, shoot, I can't because of this. And they won't be straight to your face. Like, if you say, like, do I look fat in this? They'll be nice to you and say, no, you don't. But if you do, like, they're not going to help you out. Versus New Yorkers who are mean but kind. Where it's like, oh, I didn't eat today. Don't be an idiot. Here, eat. Here's a sandwich. Here's this.
Yeah.
You better eat because I love you and this is how I show love. Does that make sense? I don't know if I explained that right, but...
I see what... the general Southern Californian and the general New Yorker, yes.
It is a general thing, yeah.
Yeah. Actors... It seems to be no matter what course you're on, it's, hey, it's so good to see you. Oh my gosh, we should get coffee some other time, and you never get coffee.
I did that with my cousin from New York, who's been an actor in New York for like over a decade. She then moves to LA and moves to LA. Like, she's not just here for a month or whatever. And I've been in LA at this time for well over a year, so I reach out to her and I'm like, hey, do you want me to like show you around? Do you want me to introduce you to people? And she's like, that'd be great. Yeah, let's grab coffee sometime. She lived there for over a year before moving back to New York, and I had never heard from her. I reached out to her at least 3 times. She's like, yeah, that sounds great. When are you free? And I'm like, I'm free this day. How about you? Radio silence for 3 months. Great. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. And it is that one line. And I've been called out on that line too many times of like, yeah, we got to grab coffee together sometime. Why is that the go-to? And then I get tea. I'm just an all-around liar. I'm sorry. But
Please, I don't even drink coffee. I never drink coffee. And I do the whole, we should get coffee.
Yeah, it's just like a standard, like, there's a Starbucks on every corner. Why not just meet up there? It's a public place. You could park for free usually. Let's go.
Also, you say something like, let's get boba. And you half the time get, what's boba? And it's like,
And then the other people who know boba tend not to like boba. And you're just like, either you really like it or you really don't. But you can order tea without boba, you guys. All right? Let me get the boba. You don't have to. That's a standard. We could get boba.
California between New York and California. New York is just really fast. They're moving. And Southern California, we're like, yeah, whatever. We'll get there when we get there.
Dude.
It's
go with the flow. Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. Absolutely. They're just like, go, 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 go. Yeah. And I love that. And I want to go to New York. I want to bring my boyfriend to New York one day. He's never been there. He's never seen a Broadway show, even though he does like, he's a theater guy. He has a degree in theater, but specifically like theater lighting. He does the tech side.
Yes.
Yeah, so one of our favorite things to do is to see plays, but we haven't been able to do that thanks to the mess. And I've been telling him, I want to take you to Broadway. I want you to see a Broadway show, like actual Broadway show in New York.
I wish Beetlejuice hadn't closed.
Same. I really wanted to see that. I've been listening to that soundtrack.
I saw it. And the thing is, they're all the rumors right now, because they've announced Beetlejuice for Universal Studios Florida this year, and I want them to bring it here. And then, but the problem is, I'd be the only person, if I were to be in that maze, I'd be the only person in that maze who'd be like, well, I like the musical more.
Oh, honey, no. Hopefully we'll get cast in that together and I'll be with you.
Yes.
I haven't seen
I know
the
it's
musical,
sacrilege,
but
and I like the movie.
It's okay to like a musical better than a movie. It's perfectly fine. Do you? It's fine. I'm not going to judge. I love the songs.
Mm-hmm.
I was like just walking down the street one day and get a call from my boyfriend, and I was like, oh, I was just listening to music. He's like, what were you listening to? And I was like, say my name. Beetlejuice. He's like, oh, okay. It's like, sorry, but that's got the right vibe for me on my walk, okay?
Part of me wants to take, like, a whole bunch of scare actors, get us into scary clothing, and just do that beautiful sound.
Yes!
Because it's so descriptive of what, for those who don't know, that beautiful sound is Lydia and Beetlejuice commiserating over how much they love hearing people scream.
Yeah.
And it is perfect for the scare actor.
Yeah.
Because it is that beautiful sound.
That beautiful sound. But it is, because that fills us with such joy.
Yeah.
We get such
And
an
pride.
adrenaline rush when we hear people, like, genuinely scream.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. But with that said, I gotta go.
Yes. Please go eat. Like,
I gotta cook.
as we've been saying, you gotta eat.
I know, we talk, and it's so much fun talking to you, and I just get on these tangents, and now we're talking theater. It's like, oh, here's another passion of
Oh
mine.
no.
Oh man! So before we get way too into it, and we could always chat
Yes.
again. Don't be a
Yes.
stranger. It's fine.
Oh, and I want to have me back. I'd be pleased.
But I'll be a big fan of yours, rooting for you on Broadway. Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Hell yeah! You got a friend in
And
me.
you gonna get in these films and do all the scare acting.
Oh, thank you.
Maybe a
Yes.
horror movie or two.
Oh, I gotta hydrate from Maroon Wolf. So.
Yes.
Self-care moment. Thank you for that. She redeemed some points. I got to do that. Self-promo time. I mean, Amy, would you like to go first?
I'm on Instagram at Miss MSAMYSEGAL. That's me. I just finished a cover series of the music from the musical Six, where I got to sing all the Catherine Howard stuff. There's a link to that on my Instagram. It's Queendom in Quarantine. That was a lot of fun.
her Instagram tag right below her face here on Twitch. So please, if you're a visual person, that's how you spell it. Go follow her on Instagram. She's awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Amy, talking
Thank you for
Scareactor
having me.
stuff.
This was so much fun.
I'm glad you had fun. I'm so happy to have you. Don't go anywhere. I have to give you a more personalized goodbye after this, but my own self-promo. Once again, I'm Charge and Die. You could call me Noelle. It's fine. Pew, pew, pew. Charge and Die on all the things. Follow on Instagram and Discord for updates on my stream schedules. Follow YouTube, Instagram, Discord, TikTok. Here on Twitch. That's the fifth thing. Here on Twitch. Follow me here. But everyone, have a great rest of your Saturday. Thank you so much for joining us. And I will see you tomorrow for Skyrim Sunday. Goodbye.